Welcome back, my friends. Today we are on 3.3 and we are going to be looking at multi-step equations. So what I would recommend is that when you go to do multi-step equations, you look for these things. You won't necessarily do all of them, but this is the order that you would do them in if you have to. So the first thing that I would do is I would look for opportunities to distribute. And you're going to know that you need to distribute because there will be some parentheses. So the first thing that you will do, if needed, is distribute. The second thing you will do, if needed, is to combine like terms. And then after that, you will do any adding or subtracting that you need to do. And then lastly, you will do any multiplying or dividing. So you're going to be working your way towards making these problems look like they have in the past couple of lessons. So let's take a look at this problem right here, and I'm going to continue to work on them in a vertical fashion because I continue to think that's the better way to do it. So when you see a problem like this, you are going to still keep your track, so you're doing both things to the same, or excuse me, same thing to both sides. I don't have to distribute, so I'm kind of going down my list because there aren't parentheses, so that's your key. But these are combining like terms, and so I'll make that 8t minus 5. Then I'll move down my list. I'll get rid of any adding or subtracting, and in this case, I had subtracting, so I need to get rid of it with with adding. And then here, because this is multiplication, I get rid of it with division. So when I'm done, t is 2. And as you know, I can go back in and I can say, okay, let me check. Does 3 times 2 plus 5 times 2 minus 5 equal, does it equal 11? So I'd end up with 6 plus 10 minus 5. So 16 minus 5 does indeed check out and equal 11. Awesome. So let's take a look at another example. Other than kind of this list up here and some examples, there's not a lot to learn. You just need to know what to try to do first. So you can see parentheses in this example, which is telling me that I am going to have to start with distributing. So I go ahead and distribute my 3. 3 times a is 3a. 3 times 2 is 6. Then I'm going to go to the second thing on my list, which is combining like terms. So I'll have 8a plus 6 equals 22. I continue on by undoing my addition with subtraction, and I get 8a equals 16. So a through division, dividing that 8 out of there because it was multiplied in, would be a 2 again. So checking my work, I'm going to have 5 times 2 plus 3 times 2 plus 2, and I'm checking to see if that equals 22. This is 10. This is 4. This would be 10 plus 12, which does equal 22, so that checks as the proper solution. So let's try these. I'm going to start with this. I do not need to do distributing here. So 5d minus 2 equals 18. Then I undo subtraction with addition. 5d equals 20. So I undo multiplication with division, and d is 4. Try this next one, stop the video, and then turn it back on and see if you ended up getting the right thing. Ooh, this last one's a doozy. All right, hopefully those went well. That's what your homework's going to look like. Those are the hardest ones when it has everything. A lot of the ones on the worksheet will be easier than that. Ooh, this one is tricky. Here I'm actually not going to distribute because then I'll have fractions everywhere. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the fraction first. And I'm looking at this problem right here. So think about how you get rid of that fraction. If I have 3 over 4 times this, I'm going to use that reciprocal we talked about a few lessons ago. So I'm going to have the 4 over 3 on both sides. And thinking of the 9 as being over 1 helps me kind of work my way through that better. So that is gone. And then I'll have a minus 5. And then on this side, the top 9 times 4 becomes 36. The bottom 1 times 3 becomes 3. So that reduces to 12. And then I can go ahead and add my 5. So that way I'm not distributing a fraction, and then the whole problem won't become a fraction, because that just gets messier. And we want it to be easier, not harder. So let's practice that in these last two. So here, rather than distributing the 2, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 1/2, I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 2 over 1, putting this over 1 also. That way this all cancels, and I have 4x minus 2 equals, and here I'd have 14 over 1, which just remains 14. Then I can go back to what I've been doing and just add the 2 to both sides. To get rid of the 4, I would use division, so x lands me at 4. Same thing here. To get rid of a 5 over 6, I'm going to use a 6 over 5, and I'm going to put the 10 over 1, so it'll be easier. 5's on the top and bottom cancel, 6 on the top and bottoms cancel, so I get 2y plus 4 equals, and then 10 times 6 is 60, on the bottom 1 times 5 is 5. So that will reduce to 12 using your calculator, and now you can just go on your merry way doing the problem the way that we have been doing it. Divide out the 2, and y equals 4. So with those, if the fraction shows up in front, then you want to get rid of it using the reciprocal. But otherwise, if you have whole numbers, you're just going to follow this whole process of looking for distributing, combining, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Today, there is a worksheet rather than IXL, so look for that on Schoology and then submit it when you're done.